Do and die, we are not alike. No, you don't shine when they hit the lights. I don't make myself bleed for this life and these kind of nights. You just okay, but I'm kind of nice.
Throws a man down. It's ball and dives and he catches it. Guns it long for the end zone. Touchdown!
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We get the people what they want.
Joining us later on in the program are Detroit's own Boldy James and super producer Alchemist. They'll be joining us later, but we're going to start the show with the NFL action last night. Specifically, the New England Patriots facing off against the Washington football team. A lot of focus on the Patriots quarterback position. Cam Newton and rookie Mac Jones. Jalen, what do you think of their performances?
I know I'm not the smartest guy, but am I the first one to just get a little dyslexia looking at Cam and Mac spelled the same backwards? That's another subject for another day. Here's the deal. Cam Newton is going to be their starting quarterback. You don't have a seasoned veteran in his second year in the system who dealt with COVID last year. You don't bring him back as a different style of player and draft Mac Jones as high as you did and then start the young fella. The young fella showed a lot of promise in the game yesterday. Clearly he showed promise at Alabama, which is why he's going to be their future. But to start this season, that's going to be Cam Newton's job.
Absolutely, I agree with you. This is Cam Newton's job. However, even before Mac Jones touched the ball, Gillette Stadium was on their feet, giving him a rousing applause. And you get the feeling that, yes, Cam Newton is the starter week one, but the starter of the future, the starter of this franchise moving forward year after year after year is Mac Jones, who played well. And there was one ball that he threw. I mean, 13 for 19 is good, but those are a lot of easy passes. But one ball he threw to the end zone I found really impressive. You see him on the left side here. Look at this ball. Was it a touchdown? No. Should it have been? Yes. But that is the type of play that they're going to expect from Jones, and maybe the type of play that you can't get from Cam Newton. Who do you think finishes the season as the starter?
I say Mac Jones and Cam Newton will have times where they both are on the field together. I think they'll have games where they both start throughout the year. But if they were about to play a playoff game, Cam Newton is the answer to that question.
I think that's a good point. And the other side of the ball, we have Chase Young. Chase Young is an absolute menace on defense. Jalen, can he improve upon his wonderful performance last year?
Fam, I'm just happy he in the league. Like, seriously, I've been watching this dude do this at Ohio State with the Bosa brothers, man. And it's no accident. The first third down, did he get a strip sack? Like, just think about that. If you're Washington, right, you can find ways to get the lead in the game or keep the game close or keep the team behind the chains and get them the third down. Oh, man, they in trouble. Because ain't no blocking this guy. Don't he look like that's how Von Miller was looking when the Broncos won the Super Bowl, like coming in off the edge like that. You know what? He going to be in conversation for MVP. Watch.
You know, I definitely think he's in conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
Astronomical numbers.
So not just Defensive Player of the Year, you're saying he's going to be in the conversation for most valuable player in the league. Interesting prediction from Mr. Rose.
If Washington can be one of the best teams and even win the NFC least, it's going to be because of their defense. It's going to be because he's playing astronaut. He's going to flirt with the Michael Strahan sack record, Jacoby. That's going to put him in the MVP conversation.
Well, that defense is formidable. And another team in the NFC least trying to take that title are the Philadelphia Eagles, and they were in action last night. Jalen, I know you do not like it when your namesake is disrespected, and Jalen Hurts was not truly named the starter of this team. What do you think about his performance in limited time last night?
Hurts to Ertz. That's what I thought about it, and get used to it. And so I understand, again, that the coach, first year with the team, doesn't necessarily want to commit to saying Jalen Hurts is the starter. But you want to give your young player at quarterback confidence. Oh, and by the way, you know who they drafted in the first round? Do you know who Philadelphia drafted in the first round? This is what nobody's talking about. As much as we're talking about Hurts, there's a reason why they took the Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver, Devontae Smith, at wide receiver, because they wanted to pair these guys together. And I know he wasn't available last night, but this is going to be an explosive duo going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at 3 for 754 yards. It wasn't a great performance on paper, but there was a drop from Hurts that could have been caught. There was also Jalen Reagor dropped one that could have been caught. So you've got Hurts to Ertz and Jalen to Jalen, and we haven't even seen Devontae Smith yet. I thought the most impressive performance last night that I saw in both games was Dwayne Haskins. You remember Dwayne Haskins? He played in the Big Ten. He sort of fizzled out in Washington with the football team, but he looked good for the Steelers. Is he a future starter in the NFL?
Yes, and probably a future starter with the Steelers. And follow me here. You draft Mac Jones, he's a different style of quarterback from Cam Newton. Cam Newton, older player, won't be there next year. You bring in Haskins behind Ben Roethlisberger, similar pocket-style quarterbacks. So therefore, if he can develop in the system, he could be the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger.
Absolutely, and we mentioned that Jalen Hurts wasn't truly named the starter, which is kind of abnormal. You get this close to the regular season, but that's also the situation in Jacksonville. Urban Meyer takes over. They draft Trevor Lawrence. Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence are in a QB competition. Are you surprised that Urban hasn't committed to either, and who do you think he will go with?
I just know that Ryan Fitzpatrick and Gardner Minshew became folklore as quarterbacks. I'll just say this about number 1 overall picks. Sometimes you start them initially, sometimes you don't. And we've seen this happen the last couple of years. Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, they started right off of the top. Jameis Winston, he started right from the beginning. Other times you may choose to ease the quarterback in. Baker didn't start initially. He was one of the guys as a number 1 overall pick that did not start initially. So there are various degrees of how you play this, but here's what you don't do. Start Trevor Lawrence in the first preseason game. However, you give him a chance to get his confidence going, and you hope that you can start him for the first regular season game. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
It will be interesting to see how it plays out. And one way I think it's going to play out without Tim Tebow on the team. Tim Tebow has been listed as the 4th tight end for the Jaguars, and I do not think that they will carry 4 tight ends into the regular season. You haven't heard a lot of Tebow updates, and some tells me there's a reason why. Well, I'm sure it won't be the last time we talk about Tim Tebow, even if he doesn't make the team. It is now time for you and I to break down some video in detail. Let's go to the table. I love a pool. I love going to pools. Pools are great for the family, but pools are also dangerous, as you know, when you almost drowned as a child. Well, Andre Drummond has a pool, and he had his 2-year-old son on the side of the pool, and let's just watch what happened. Mr. Rose, we're both dads. You know that feeling of the kid next to the pool? He goes in, there goes Andre Drummond, clothes and all. What do you think about this?
I know that feeling, and by the way, great anticipation, because he saw him walk to the edge. And since that's his son, he knows himself. And he thought, what would I do if I was my son? And it would be, I would jump in. So that's why he was already anticipating. I've been that guy, dog. Let me tell you something. I was inspired by Steve Austin, the $6 million man. I told myself I was going to get a running start, jump off of the fence, and jump over the entire pool. It didn't work. I fell in. I was drowning. And rest in peace to my Uncle Paramore, who saved my life, just like Andre Drummond did for his son.
I do want to look at the video one more time and just ask you a simple question. Does Andre Drummond ask the guy in the red that does not react what he was doing. Because he had to pay pass. Andre Drummond went right past him. You take a look at the video one more time, you will see the guy in the red at the edge of the pool. You'll see. And him getting not the most athletic way to get out of a pool right there either. Now, Jay, look at that. Like, not the most, like, he's struggling. Like, dog, you're a professional athlete. You know, you're a professional athlete, Andre. That's how you get out of a pool? You sit down?
Yeah. You're right. He is a professional athlete. And look at that backyard. He rich on rich on rich. He didn't have a lifeguard back there, Dre.
Well, guess who else is rich? Kawhi Leonard. He just signed his deal with the Clippers, and we have all the details coming up right after this. How do you think Kawhi will approach next season as he rehabs his injury from surgery?
Got to give the people